Hey you, and welcome. In this video, we will start learning about HTML. In order to start working with HTML, all you need is a computer. HTML is a language, hypertext markup language, that all the browsers know about. In order to work with that, you have to create a new file, and the file extension will end with .html or .htm for short. I'll start by opening a text edit on Mac. On Windows, you can open Notepad, would have the same result. And in the text edit, I will change to plain text. So in the text edit, all I will say is hello world. And I'll try and save this. Go to File, Save. And on my desktop, I will name it something.html. So my file name is something, but the extension is HTML. It can be HTML as well. That's fine as well. All right, so I'll go ahead and save. And it will ask me, are you sure you want to work with HTML, not TXT, which is the default for all the computers? I'll say, yes, I am sure. So that means officially we have created our first website, which is in HTML. How can we actually see this website? That's the question. So I'll close out my text edit here. I'll go back to my browser. I'm using Firefox in this case. If I just say Command O, that will allow me to open, or I can go in any browser, go to File, and there should be an Open File option or just an Open option. You can use either or. I'll work with Command O. And on my desktop, I can see there's a something.html file. I'll open that, and there we go. It's rendering just fine. I'll just zoom in a little bit so we can see better. And if I was to show you what's happening behind the scenes, I'll open something called the inspect element in Firefox. So I'll right click anywhere in the browser, anywhere in here. I'll click on it and say inspect. And when I click on inspect, underneath my browser, a tool opens up, and this tool will show us what's actually happening behind the scenes by the browser. How is the browser rendering it out? And you would notice what we have here is an HTML syntax that is writing the body for us. And that's called the boilerplate. Boilerplate is the code that you have to write before you actually can write a custom code for yourself. So that's everybody has to write a HTML tag up top, and then head, and then body. This is how the browser marks up the language. By putting less than sign, the tag name, and the greater than sign, that makes a complete tag. And that's how the browser would know that this HTML tag, that is the root tag for everything. The head tag would be something that is hidden, and the body tag is the one that is actually getting rendered by the web page. And in the body tag, I'm just putting hello world as is, and it just displays that. So that's how the markup language works, and that's how we can create these files. There's other ways, of course. If you have access to the internet, you can go to JS Fiddle. That's one of the websites I started out with. Pretty nice website. And all you can do is type in hello world in the HTML section, click on run, and that will run the HTML for you. So in some cases, you may be on a computer that doesn't have the functionality that I'm going to show you in a minute, which is called the IDE, Integrated Development Environment. I'm going to download VS Code for that. So if I go to a different tab, this is where we can download visualstudio.com, and that's where you can download this tool. I already have mine open, so I'll go ahead and go to Visual Studio Code. Once you install it, you should have access to it in your applications. In Mac, I can do Command Space and type in code or VS Code. That should open my application. If you're on Windows, you can click on the Start button and type in Visual Studio Code or VS Code. Same result should pop up, and just press Enter. That should open up your application after installation. Once that is done, you can open your existing something.html file from desktop. And now we can see that the HTML is editable. The reason why you would want to use IDE instead of a Notepad is because IDE can help you out along the way. So I just deleted hello world, and let's say I want to start writing some of those tags like HTML body tag that I saw in the dev tool. So if I start writing, notice what happens. The system is helping me out, telling me, are you trying to write HTML? Are you trying to write H1, H2? Those are some other tags. So we don't have to memorize the tags. We can have IDE help us out. And if I press Enter and close my tag, notice that automatically closes it for me. And I can do something similar here to say, start a body tag, close it, and then say hello world. And that should be just fine. So the reason why we would want to use IDE is just speeds things up, makes it easy for us to work with the development environment, and also allows us to make it look nice. I have the blue color for tags and white color for the content of that tag, which is very useful here. However, if you don't have access to a computer that you can install the IDE on, sometimes that happens, you can go to the browser in the JS Fiddle. You can work with that. That's one IDE. There's many out there. There's Code Sandbox that is pretty good these days. You can click on that. It's free. Most of the IDEs are free. And for Code Sandbox, we can start working with vanilla JavaScript. That means HTML should just be there. And in the file explorer, I can see there's the index.html. They've written some code for us already and is rendering out on the right-hand side. We can actually set up our VS Code the same way. If I go back to my VS Code, there is a section for extensions. Extension is very, very valuable. You can install all kinds of extensions to enhance your experience of development. So if I go over to extensions section, try to search for live server. That's an extension. And if you click on that, you can click on install for live server. I already have it installed. And what it does is starts a server for us locally so we can view our HTML, CSS, JavaScript in real time. So I have it installed. I'm going to close this up, hide my file explorer. To open something.html with live server, I have to first go into the file explorer, open a folder, and this will be referring to the desktop folder for now. Once that is open, I have access to something.html. So if I press Command-Shift-P or Control-Shift-P on Windows, I can search for live server commands. And the one that is at the top is called Open with Live Server. That's the one I want. Press Enter. And at the bottom, I can see that on port 5500, my server has already started. And in order to see this, two ways to do that. Of course, it will open the browser for you, which it did for me on the other screen right now. That's one way. Or you want to split the screen just like in Code Sandbox. And in order to do that, I'm going to hide my file explorer. And I will split my screen at the top right-hand corner. There's a split screen option. And do Command-Shift-P and open a simple browser, and that will ask me which address do you want to open. In this case, it will be http://localhost 5500. That was the port that the server opened on. And remember, after localhost, I'm putting colon to separate the address, which is localhost, that's your current computer, and 5500 is the port. Press enter. And there we are. I can see that there is a HTML file, something.html. And when I click on it, I can get to the hello world. And now if I make changes, it should automatically update this for me. So this is very valuable. I can, of course, make this a little smaller, and that would be our IDE setup. So you can actually use VS Code locally if you have access to it. If you don't, go to the browser, use Code Sandbox, JS Fiddle. Either one is fine, and HTML is accessible everywhere. I'll see you all in the next video.